Hey first graders, it's Miss Bale, and I am going to teach you a really cool strategy, one of my favorite reading strategies to use when I get stuck on a word. So we know that we're going to get stuck on words when we read. It's going to happen. There's going to be a word that you get to that you're not sure what it is, and that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about something that you can do, a strategy that you can use that you may have already heard about, but we're going to practice it some more. And I'm going to show you how to use this really cool strategy to figure out a word that you don't know. So this strategy is called Chunky Monkey. I mean, the name itself is super fun. So with this strategy, what you're going to do is you're going to break the word apart. So I'm going to show you a little picture to kind of help you picture Chunky Monkey and that strategy, and we'll talk some more about it. Okay, so the reason that this strategy is one of my favorites to use is because there are lots of different ways that you can use it. In fact, there are 3 ways that you can use this strategy. So one way that you can use it is to look for a hunk and chunk that you know. So you might have learned some hunks and chunks in your class so far, or sometimes we call it the phonics dance. And you can look and see, do you see any hunks and chunks in that word that you already know? A second thing that you can look for is a word that you already know. So a lot of times in a word, you see another word hiding inside of that word. So sometimes you can look for that too, and that can help you. And then the third thing is you can look for a word family that you know. So it might be the word family at, or am, or op, or it. So there are a lot of different ways that you can use this strategy and a lot of different things that you can look for. But the most important part is you're trying to find all of those hunks and chunks and words that you know and word families that you know that are hiding inside of that word. So you're going to break the word apart, just like our picture shows us. Okay, so let's practice. Okay, so let's take a look at this first sentence. So what I'm going to do is the words that are underlined, I'm going to pretend to get stuck on. Now I do know the words because I've had a lot of practice reading, and you will too one day, but I'm going to pretend to get stuck on them, and then I'm going to show you how I can use my really cool hunk and chunk, chunky monkey strategy to figure out those words, okay? All right, so let me get started. You know what? I think I'm going to use not only the chunky monkey strategy, but I think I'm going to use this stretchy snake strategy too. So as I stretch it out, I'm going to look and see, are there any hunks and chunks that I see? Or words that I know, or a word family. Oh, you know what? I see that UG, and I know that's a word family that I know that makes the UG sound. So now let me stretch it out and make that UG sound at the end. Slug, 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 slug. Oh, like I guess like an animal or type of, I don't think he's an insect, but a kind of animal. So let's see if that makes sense. A slug may not have a I don't know what that word is either, but let me see if I see anything. I see at the beginning and I see SH. I know SH makes that sh, sh, sh sound. So when I stretch it out, I know I want to make that SH sound. Let me look. Oh, I see ELL, and that's another word family that I know. And I know that that makes the L sound. So now I just need to combine those two sounds to figure out my word. So let me try that. Shell, shell, shell. Well, that would make sense. A slug may not have a shell. Awesome. So in that first sentence, I was able to use the word family hunk and chunk. That when I broke it apart, I was able to see the word families that I knew, like UG and L, to help me figure it out. In this second sentence, I'm going to use a different strategy, which is still a part of our chunky monkey strategy, but I'm going to show you another way to use it. So again, I'm going to pretend to get stuck on a couple of words that are underlined. So let's take a look. I love, that's a big word. But right off the bat, I see a hunk and chunk that I know, and I actually see it twice. I see ing, which I know says ing, ing, just like in our phonics stance. So I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to use Stretchy Snake along with Chunky Monkey and see if I can figure out that word. Ing, 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 singing, singing. Oh, I love singing. Okay, that looks like it could make sense and looks right. Let's see the rest of the sentence. I love singing in my, I don't know what that word is, but again, right off the bat, I see a hunk and chunk that I know. I see AR, which I know says RRR, like a pirate. And so I'm going to stretch it out and say R when I get to that AR sound. R, car, car. Okay, so let me go back and make sure it makes sense. I love singing in my car. That looks right, and that looks like it makes sense, definitely. All right, so remember, not only can you use a word family that you know like we did in the first sentence, but in the second sentence, I used my hunks and chunks to help me figure out the words. So let's take a look at the third sentence and see what we're gonna use there. Okay, so let's take a look at this last sentence. So again, I'm going to pretend to get stuck on the word that is underlined. And I want you to see if you can figure out, how am I using my Chunky Monkey strategy to figure it out? Am I using the word families? Am I using the hunks and chunks, like from our phonics stance? Or am I finding a word hiding inside of that word? Let's take a look. The girl saw a, it's a big word. Oh, you know what? I see at the beginning of that word, I see the word rain. I know the word rain. So let's see, rain. Wait, I see another word that I know. At the end of the word, I see the word bow. So I see rainbow, and that matches my picture. So let's see. The girl saw a rainbow. That makes sense, and it matches our picture, and it looks right. It looks like the word rainbow. I think I figured it out. So I hope you liked my strategy, Chunky Monkey. I think it's super fun to use, and it's really helpful when I'm stuck on a word and I can't figure it out, because it gives me a lot of different ways that I can try to figure out that word just with this one strategy. So if we remember, one, you can look for hunks and chunks that you know that you've learned in your phonics stance. You can look for words that you see hiding inside of that word, words that you already know. And 3, you can also look for word families that you know. So make sure that when you get stuck on a word that you come back and you use all of your strategies, but don't forget about this really cool one called Chunky Monkey.